Hi everybody. I don't know if anybody will join me live because I think I've messed up on the timing, but this video will be up and available for everybody at a time that suits you. But hopefully one or two will have seen me go live. Ah, somebody's joined him. That's fantastic. So that's always encouraging. And we're going to find out how many got it. Mrs. John is with us today. But we're setting off in a few minutes, but I'm not going to talk particularly during the tour because A, I don't really know what we're looking at, so I'm going to enjoy it just as you do. But secondly, it's a bit rude with him doing commentary and so forth, so we'll just...
You'll have to translate it later.
Yeah, you'll have to translate it later. Hello, Catherine. Hope you're well. Hope you weren't confused by the timing schedule. It rather messed that up, but anyway. Those that are here, and we can look forward to a nice experience together in Amiens. I don't think anybody has broadcast from Amiens before, so it's a first. Hello, Linda. Oh, fantastic. Hello, Mrs. John. Diane's with us as well from Canada. Hi, Diane. Lovely to see you. And so we're off. So I'm going to turn us around. We are in Amiens, in northern France. This is the trip of the hortillonnages, the water gardens of Amiens. So hopefully a nice peaceful vibe. And if he doesn't talk, I may well say a few bits, but I don't want to get in the way of his commentary. So it's been really sunny and warm the last sort of few days, but today a little bit cooler, but nice weather, I think. So I don't know so much about these. In fact, the most that I kind of know about them really is through reading Birdsong. If any of you have read it or watched it, wonderful novel, largely about the First World War, but the first part of the novel is about the young Stephen Raceford coming to Amiens to learn how to run a textile factory, where he falls madly in love with and has a secret affair with the wife of the factory owner, Madame Lazare, and they conduct much of their romance on the hortillonnage on boats. So very much a kind of romantic spot. So I'm going to leave it at that because they're talking for it and I don't want to talk over this chat. Thanks, Fran. So from what I understand, it's a bit of a kind of local tradition that those that have got the gardens that back onto this. It's the River Somme, by the way. It's famous, of course, for the battle, but before the battle it was just a rather bucolic corner of France. But it's a tradition for them to do sort of fairly sort of spectacular kind of garden design. So I've never seen one, I've seen pictures. So very much looking forward to what you can see.
See what can learn.
Very calm, lovely reflection on the water. Just very peaceful. Hi, Natalie. So lots of little inlets kind of running down off the side of them. So it's very much a sort of a flooded landscape. Very kind of Amsterdam-esque. You'd be familiar with Stephen and Mark's tours of the waterways of Amsterdam. So very kind of similar sort of vibe. Little walkways intersecting. Creating routes, of course, across a pair of fishermen over there. Lovely French story, if you've ever come across it, by Guy de Maupassant, about two French fishermen during the Napoleonic War that are faced with a dilemma, and they equip themselves very, very well. It's well worth seeking out. The two fishermen, I believe, and it's about the siege of Paris in the last century. So see bits of Amiens is an interesting city. It's both sort of historic and modern. So obviously we're looking at sort of contemporary architecture in the background, but where we were, of course, on the two bits of video that I did the other day, and we may do that again actually at the end of this video, is the historic core. It's very beautiful, sort of medieval, so it has both elements, ancient and modern. Beautiful light now, isn't it?
Nice.
Oh, look at the bridge. Very cute little bridge. Yeah, the little, is it coot on moorhen? No, I was filming a bird. I was filming a bird. Just put that over. It is from. We've been up to Tiepval this afternoon. I've done some 360 shooting, so there'll be a 360 tour that I'll share with you at some point to explore by yourself, not a live tour. Paris yesterday, so that was fun, but very manic. Missed 2 trains, not great. So this is it's our final day here in France. We set off back home tomorrow, so what a nice way to.
Chill after a
Yes.
manic few days.
It also reminds me of the Helford River. If any of you have been down to Cornwall, famous of course by Daphne du Maurier and Frenchman's Creek, the Helford River in Cornwall is very much along this kind of vibe as well. So there's another kind of a point of comparison. Now we're seeing the first sort of floral display about to come up. So with Mrs. John in my ear and your knowledge, we should be able to, I'm sure, identify more than 1 or 2 of these plants. Something very calming about being on water. And it always amazes as well, of course, these plants are so suited to their habitat. Most plants hate having soggy roots, and yet these thrive in these situations. So pond plants, yeah. But I'm guessing it's not brackish water. It could be brackish, but I'm guessing it's fresh water. Yes, Nancy, in the hailstorm in Paris, we were waiting for them to get to the Musée d'Orsay, and they came down and they were like sugar cubes. They were absolutely enormous and violent. Yeah, Nancy asked if we got caught in the hailstones yesterday.
Yes, we did. We still stood outside.
How do you know about that, Nancy? We were over here. 'Cause I think it's Nancy from Canada, isn't it, Nancy? But, so you see here? It's pretty. So was there a house?
Some geraniums. Some geraniums. Some marigolds. Some snapdragons.
Geraniums, marigolds, snapdragons,
Lobelia.
lobelia, I'm told. I mean, simultaneous translation in my ear. The cow over there, I think you can see that's a point right into the sun. Floats can see to it. Oh, right, okay, yes. Not surprised. It really was violent. We were in the queue to get in the Musée d'Orsay, the famous gallery with the Van Goghs and the Monets and the Renoirs and so forth. So there was a lot of people there, and I must say the queue discipline turned
Chaos.
into chaos, yes. That everyone just sort of scrambled for cover, and we felt Florida video post. Oh, I see. Thank you, Nancy, for clarifying. Florida. Sorry, I thought you were in Canada, Nancy. My daughter, my youngest daughter, of course, called Nancy too. So. These are nice. They're like cordylines, aren't they? Like cabbage palms. But yes, it was exceptionally heavy. The hailstone yesterday. It was far, and it came on so suddenly as well. So it really was the sort of a surprise. Lovely old buttercups over here. It's obviously a mixture of wild as well as
Nettles, obviously.
the planted. So, do I say I really don't know what to expect? Because I've seen a few photos of this and read about it in the novels, but I can now see how it's a super place to conduct an illicit affair. I think in the afternoons before the tourists were here, mainly a cove to slip down. Goodness me. If you haven't read Birdsong, I do recommend. It is one of the best novels of the sort of later 20th century. And it betrays a kind of period of calm, albeit with intense sort of erotic undertones, of Amiens before the war on the battlefields are only sort of 45 minutes away from here, so this is kind of the nearest big city to the main sort of First World battlefields. So, you know, for anybody that's interested, obviously, you know, Vimy Ridge, the Newfoundland Beaumont Hamel, we were just there today, sort of 45 minutes away from here. So, a lot of you that had relatives in service personnel during the First World War stationed in France, very, very likely to come to Amiens on their weeks off. It was kind of a place to come and be entertained, in inverted commas, by the very young, grateful young ladies that were happy to reward the troops that were here to liberate and look after them. I'll say no more about that, it's a family show, but I think you catch my drift.
Amiens first place weekend to France, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's the first place Mrs. John and I came back in 2002, shortly after we met. So I have no idea how much it costs to have a property, basically on the, what are you going to call it? The water area, the swamp. Yeah, it's a bit like the, what's it called in America? Florida, what's it called Florida, Nancy, where you're Everglades? It's, oh, look, it's bamboo, yeah, fabulous. Bit of blue sky now. You know the Everglades, Nancy? Don't think we're in gators down here.
We're a bit vulnerable.
I want this boat to be a bit higher up if we are going to be tussling with alligators, but if we do, you'll see it here first. Can I have some of that water, please? Yes. That's merci to you then.
Huh?
That's merci to you then.
I can find two
Yeah.
French.
Little canard. Oh, that's a moorhen over there, sorry. Little bird, look at that reflection.
Beautiful.
Ah, Nancy's living in Miami, so she's seen lots of gators. Have you eaten them, Nancy? Are you fond of the gator?
Gator steak.
Yeah. Is that a go-to in your gastronomy? Do let us know in the comments.
I'm not having that for dinner tonight.
I draw the line at living places where there's animals that want to kill you. I'm fully that way. It's wonderful weather now.
Nice. It's been very changeable. The sky's beautiful.
Yeah. Tastes like chicken, apparently.
What, this alligator?
Now you know.
Does it?
Is that if he's eaten a chicken, Nancy? It's wilder than I thought it was going to be. I say I thought it was more, you know, kind of horticulture, but you know, I guess there's some more of those gardens. Hello, Cheryl. But look at that little carpet of butterflies over there. Buttercups. What did I say?
Butterflies.
Butterflies. Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Butterflies. That's Monet-esque, isn't it? Yeah. Mark's with us. Hello, Mark. Good to see you. You're getting the best of today's weather. Not a lot of sunshine today, so it's lovely to join us on the water here and take in the sights and sounds of the backwaters of Amiens with the Somme district. So this is the River Somme. So it's very hard, I think, for today's modern ears to hear the word Somme and not, of course, think about the battle, which was so devastating, ran for 5 months in July to November 1916. But of course, originally it was an agricultural area of France. And so much is may well be cut irrigation channels designed to provide water to properties. Not very deep, if you look, it's probably go down there. I would say maybe 3 feet, 4 feet deep, would you think? Not even that, maybe.
I'm not going to
Pretty clear.
look all that way.
Yeah, Mrs. Tracy's going to get out now and jump into the water.
I am not.
I'm going to find out. So thank you for that.
I am not.
Going the extra mile. The sound is very low. Have you tried turning it up? Is it sound low for other people? Because I can certainly boost it up a little bit. It may be this battery is running out.
You are talking quite a
but I'm talking pretty quietly too. Let's put a second mic on as well, and then maybe that'll help. If it's a battery issue, that'll definitely help. Sound okay there. I'll put a second mic on, and then it can't do any harm. That's it. So definitely evidence of people living and enjoying this landscape. As I say, I suspect it's on the pricier end of the property portfolio. They need very deep pockets, lots of euro. Thank you, Mark. That's a nice balance, worthwhile. I've put a second microphone on, so that may give it a little boost. It's lovely to have some sunshine now finally today.
The sun does seem to come out late afternoon here, though.
Yes. So I love these little inlets that kind of run off. You just want to follow each one and go, no, turn down there. Make it longer.
So we can get back out again.
Yeah, maybe so. So you've got sunken trees here, so it gives the impression now that we're suddenly into a deeper section. Not quite sure whether that's the case or not, but...
Yeah, you can't see the floor.
Well, Fran, we are recording in 1080 HD. Just proving, just saying, it is possible in France. You do not need a muddy picture. Humphrey's at home. We're going to see him tomorrow, Carol. Oh, pretty. So I'm guessing it's a real kind of community that kind of live here. All know each other, all have their own boats, all work together presenting the gardens. What fun. Oh, I think there's about maybe 12 of us, Cheryl. I've not turned on and recorded them for their own privacy. There's little children on here as well. But it's a pretty small boat. We're sat at the front, which is great.
Without a life jacket?
Without a life jacket, yeah. We're risking life and limb here to bring you this. But they're pretty over there.
That's Vinca.
This one?
That's Vinca the puppy.
Finca.
Vinca.
Vinca.
Periwinkle.
Ah, periwinkle. Privé, a little private jetty landing there. Not everyone wants to share their space, clearly. Just something out of boat tour, isn't it? Just relaxing. Calming, that's the word, yeah.
Very calming. Not like yesterday.
No, Paris was anything but calming yesterday, so definitely ready to dial it down a little bit. Ah, Catherine B spotted the Vinca too. Is this sketching speed, Catherine? Can you be quick on the draw, as you might say, and knock us out a little hortillonnages image? Hello, Maureen. Lovely to have you join us live here in Amiens in northern France. We're about 2 hours drive from Paris, hour 20 or so on the train. About 90 minutes from Calais. So sort of top corner of France, and we are on the river Somme, coming here through Amiens. It's a really nice speed as well. If you're doing this in your kind of cinematically, a dolly would go about this speed, so it does make for a... I'm trying to frame the picture as well as possible.
This is why it's not easy to have a busy.
Well, hello, Linda, New York.
Linda. Hello, Linda.
You can catch on what you've missed. But hopefully nice sharp images from France, Linda. Would you?
French lilac.
French lilac, apparently.
That one.
Which one? Ah, this. Yeah, pretty.
Well, there's different kinds of lilac. I'm just assuming that's French.
Yeah, isn't that lovely light? The combination of the movement of the water, the reflection, the greenery, the colour of the flowers, and the blue sky. A little slice of heaven for you. Hello, Kathy. Always welcome to join us on the River Somme. Past the hortillage, the water gardens of Amiens. And Laurie's joined us as well. The word is going round. There's nowhere else to be this Sunday on a boat in Amiens. Or Amiens, as we were told you. We call it Amiens forever, so it's Amiens. It's Amiens in my head.
Oh, it will be.
Yeah. We were looking at the Musée d'Orsay yesterday and looking at a painting by Monet of reflection on water of a few boats. So expertly done, you're just gasping at the quality. I think a blue house there, like in the middle. Rather unusual. Colour. If that's a house or a folly, it's hard to tell, isn't it?
Could be either.
Yeah. So you might well just hear behind me, I know it's quiet, but there is actually a French guide who's chatting. He's not talking particularly loudly. I struggle to hear him actually, even if I could understand what he was saying. So
I'm catching the odd 10 word. French lessons next stop.
it's so peaceful, Maureen. It's absolutely delightful. I'm surprised there isn't more sort of fowl on here, really, more birds, because it is such a delightful spot and so sheltered. Such a great place for it to raise a little ducky family that you'd have thought there'd be masses of fowl, waterfowl, but not seen there just yet. The odd one, not much. Maybe. So I don't know to what degree the land is kind of waterlogged to either side. I'm guessing it is. And the way this is sort of constructed feels like the irrigation channels created probably by medieval farmers in the first place to irrigate land. That I don't know, I'd have to research it. Linda, how I found it is reading the bird song, and the two main characters sort of conduct a romance that becomes an illicit affair, and they kind of fall in love, taking afternoon boats around Le Hortillage in Amiens. Un peu, Natalie, un peu.
What's un peu?
Do I speak French?
Yeah, un peu. Ma français est nul.
I went to the shop this morning and I ordered some croissants, some pain au chocolat, and a baguette entirely in French. So
Hey.
enough to do that.
Right, food and drink, it's when you're reply.
Yeah, it's when they talk back.
And it's too fast.
Hi, Diane. Get that down there. Thank you.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. That was a Catherine Red bird song as well. Merci, monsieur. Sorry, Diane, I'm kind of missing the link here to obviously listening battles here, so help me out. What are you referencing? I know it's Gettysburg and Saratoga. Is that Gentleman Johnny Burgoyne at Saratoga? If I can remember. I'm not brilliant on revolutionary history. Hello, Cynthia. Sure I've said hello to you, so you're most welcome here in the water gardens of Amiens. Amiens. You and me both, Catherine. It's fun to try, though. Yes, we're in northern France, about 2 hours from Paris. Oh, that's pretty. There's blue one over front. Hi, Rebecca. I agree. Beautiful, serene, and relaxing. Perfect way to sum it up. All those things. And of course, doing it in fine company too. Both in person with Mrs. John and with you guys on the other side of the screen. Well, I didn't quite know what to expect, but this is every bit as nice as we could have hoped for, I think. It's the weather. It's not raining or hailing, yes. We drove, Linda. We drove to France this time on the Channel Tunnel. So it's not too far away, this. We're definitely at the northern end.
It's just the delays, isn't it?
Slug plants.
Definitely like jam.
Ooh, there's a rather dark-looking scarecrow here.
Ooh, that's a bit too realistic.
Turn away now if you're a bit Johnny Depp-esque. Quite know what's going on there, but I think they're trying to freak us out. Oh my God, no. Definitely turn away now. If you're at all concerned with the strange goings-on in the work gardens. Oh my God. There's somebody here with a bizarre sense of humour, or a serial killer. One of the two.
Or both.
Or both. Those clothes were last seen on a victim. Last seen wearing. Gorgeous. Yeah, our train was delayed, so because you drive onto the train for the Eurotunnel, but in total it was meant to be about 6.5 hours, I think, from York to our accommodation here in Amiens. So yeah, it's pretty accessible.
It took us 12.
Bigfoot's been sighted. So it's a lot bright there, so I'll just try and spin the camera a little bit. Yeah, Maureen, I don't know exactly how it works out, but there's a community of people that have these gardens that obviously back out onto the song, yes, come to these landscape, and they sort of come together and obviously allow people, encourage people to come and take a tour. I don't know exactly how it works, but obviously we've paid to do this, to bring this to you. This is not free, but I think, I would imagine it's just pride of living here. But maybe it's an enterprise, I don't know. Maybe the money that they raise from these goes back into the conservation of the area. Maybe that's... Yeah, that would make sense. It's a very cute little pink hut over this side. Yeah. Yeah, I get this. I get the sense it doesn't feel like a very commercial venture, Maureen. More sort of a thing of pride, really, that people are sort of upkeeping a tradition. Now they've got an otter. Oh, we've got an otter. You see? You see? Sorry. Yep. Yeah. Well, I got some of it. Did you see the otter? Hello, Kira. Yes, let's keep them peeled. I thought it was a bit sort of light on wildfire, so maybe they'll come out when the last tour finishes. This is the last tour of the day. We finished about 10 minutes, I think. So maybe that was... But that was right in front of us. Looks like Cheryl saw it. Hello, Rowena.
I saw it and then it went into the water.
That was amazing. Don't see otters every day. Wonderful animals. So you have very flat bottom boats on here because it's not very dark, not very deep. A few feet deep. We're back to, I'd say about 4 feet deep looking over. Mark saw the otter as well. That's fantastic. So if you didn't see it at the end, maybe go back and put it in slow motion. Which if you don't have to do it that way, there's a little gear symbol at the bottom, and if you click on that, you can go to a quarter speed, 0.25, half speed. We've been here. This is our 4th day, so we're back home tomorrow. So we're back with Humphrey. He'll probably be sulking at us tomorrow. The wind in the willows. There is a definite wind in the willows, Christopher. Yeah, absolutely. And you could be our Christopher Robin, couldn't you? It's the weeping willows coming down, so pretty. You hear the bird song in the background?
They're almost like allotments, aren't they?
They are like allotments, yeah. Utterly beautiful, yes. Ah. It's an eatery here, so I don't know if this is the disembarkation point. But stay on. We're going to have a little walk around Amiens. I think we've got to fill up the reel, fill up the camera. Like coming back from your holidays, you know, bit of time left over. So I think I'm not quite sure.
Squeezing the last bit out.
It might be further. I don't know. I've not been down here before, but
It's further because 45 minutes, we're going to 15.
yeah, that's sort of it's there. Yeah, sort of it's there. Yeah. But what a nice spot to live in. So yeah, Amiens is the largest city in this area, and as I say, by road about 2 hours from Paris, by rail about 1:20. The other sort of major sort of attraction, if you like, in this part of the world, in fact, it is the site of the First War Memorials, which is what we've been at one of them today, the Thiepval Memorial. And they're about sort of 45 minutes drive from here, and they're all concentrated in a sort of very small area, but all the huge monuments to the British, the French, the Canadians in particular, the US service personnel as well. So if anybody has had relatives, ancestors, forefathers come over to France, in the First War, there's every chance they would have come down and experienced this themselves, because Amiens was a place until 1918 that was behind the lines. So it was a place for R&R, for the troops to kick back and relax and get a bit of downtime from the intensity, of course, of being in the trenches and the front lines. So they would certainly know about Amiens and its charms. Lovely bridge over there. We're going under that, but I'll go into one here. Oh, look at that. Well, spot of bridges are coming thick and fast now. That's some Flag Irish. We did Flag Irish down at Askham Bog in Europe, so which suggests that it might be worth a trip down to Askham Bog again to look at those. That's beautiful. What's that called? This tree we're looking at?
I do not know.
Anybody know what that is? Beautiful, pink, very delicate, gorgeous. Look at that. Is that an iris?
Is it a canna lily?
Oh, canna lily. Yeah, okay. Oh, Linda, we were at Tietville today. So I was filming, photographing it in 360. So I'll let you know. I'll drop a link when that's done. And who knows, you might be able to see. I photographed all of the tablets. Obviously, some are quite high up, so there's no guarantee that they'll be visible. But there's every chance it might be. Okay, 3 billy goats gruff. Going to the bridge here.
Don't see a troll.
No, it's his day off. Can we look at it? Oh. Busy in July. It's July the 1st you're going, Linda. A busy day for the Tietville Memorial. And for those that know the reference, the 1st of July was the biggest single loss of life and casualties for the Allied forces during the First World War. Yeah. Mm. Oh. I think it's turning. Yeah. So I think we're turning now to go back to the land. Oh, and of course it doesn't much matter which day, because the Battle of Somme lasted from the 1st of July 1916 through to, I'm going to say 3rd of November 1916, I believe. It was a full 5 months, and disastrous, of course, from the point of view of the British forces.
For December, though, was it? July, August, September, October, November, December.
Oh, December, okay. So we're pulling into the quayside now, but do stay on. We'll take you for a little walk around the nearby facilities. I've only got 20% battery left, so I can't tell you how long this will be, but we'll certainly get another 10 minutes, I want to think, out of this. So. Merci.
Merci.
Merci. Pour état uni. En Canada. So we're going to walk back up now and take you to see a little bit of the rest of Amiens before the battery dies complete. So wasn't that nice? Really just that gives you a sense now of the sort of size of the boat we're on. It is a tack uni, isn't it, America?
Pardon?
It's tack uni. Anyway, too late. They all waved, so. Huh? 12 post boat. So let's head in and see what we can see. So if we could sort of continue down that way, there's like a nice quayside and kind of waterways down there. So I think we'll take you for a little wander down that way. And good, thank you, Laurie. They all seem to know what I meant. They all waved, so. Yes, it should be this way, shouldn't it? Oh. So we're in the sort of slightly more modern part of Amiens, but trying to take you to see a nice historic part before we come off. Oh, fantastic streets. Oswald in Lancashire, Julie, I've been there. Oh, is it in Cumbria? Oswald, I forget where. Is that the most central place in Britain? Do you let me know? That's Holtwhistle. No, Oswald, it's Lancashire, isn't it? I have been, but I couldn't tell you. Yeah, Trees, it'll go up, and it's going to stay up. So don't worry, as ever. My view is YouTube's for life, not just for Christmas. So do look out for it on there. But I think that's the waterway down there, isn't it? Think. Yeah. So we'll show you something, even if it's not actually what we thought we were going to show you in the first place. And you can't get lost if you don't know where you're going, can you? That's what I always say. Lancashire, Accrington. Oh well, of course, Accrington. Famous for Pals regiments, and Accrington took one of the biggest hits during the 1916 July the 1st offensive, with huge numbers, like 80-90% of the troops killed or injured on the first day. So a terrible day in the history. But also City of Sheffield, Leeds, Manchester battalions, and the idea of the Pals battalions was to kind of get men to join up in the army but serve with their work colleagues. So, you know, people working in the same textile mills or the same farms or whatever would kind of serve and work together. And the idea, of course, was to build camaraderie. And it worked very well. But, of course, the problem with that was that when then they were placed in sectors of extreme jeopardy and were placed in extreme harm by the German guns, is that entire generations of young men were wiped out, literally in an hour. You know, so they're terrible. So yeah, we'll put some Salford. So again, Pals battalions, and they were all, you know, in the industrial areas of Yorkshire and of Lancashire, the Midlands, the potteries, and so forth. This was very, very common. Bradford Pals, another one, and unfortunately, the point of the sector that they were on, Preston, where Cheryl is, you know, it was heavily regarded as what they call the Schwaben redoubt, which basically the problem for the Allied force in breaking across the Somme to try and help the French, who took a pasting from the Germans at a place called Verdun, a little bit further south, was that the Germans had been there for a long time and they dug themselves in with concrete and with barbed wire, and there was about 4 rows of trenches. And so whenever the British thought they were sort of doing well and bombing and making breakthroughs, they were just really doing it to the first lane, you know, of the German defences. They never, despite what they thought, because of course they didn't have air reconnaissance really like you'd have today, they never really broke through. So consequently what had happened is the Germans would move back a few trenches and then kind of come back forwards. So come 1st of July, the mornings when they were attacking, early in the morning, the German defences were pretty much entirely intact. It's down there, isn't it? The thing. We'll go down there. So that's the kind of great tragedy. is that, you know, these line after line after line of men that were caught up in this worst sector, what I call the southern sector of the July the 1st line, basically were believing that they were going to be walking across the no man's land to basically take empty trenches. And the complete opposite was true. It was a absolute turkey shoot, and deadly for all concerned. Not everybody, of course, was killed. Many were wounded, but they certainly, you know, weren't able to be returned to active service anytime soon. So it was a devastating loss, and is seen as the biggest sort of scar, really, on British sort of military history. So we're down by the kind of River Somme proper now. Just wait for Mrs. John to catch up, and she'll walk you down now to where we're going out to eat a little bit later on, and a very nice area of kind of bars and cafes. And if we've got time, we're walking back that way. We'll show you the cathedral again, but I'm not quite sure how much battery power I've got. And I know you guys always like to see the water, so I thought I'd bring us down by the waterside. Tris, I think it's a very interesting idea. In Edinburgh, there is a museum that's got the Hague collection. Of course, Douglas Hague was the man who kind of was largely responsible for the strategy of what was known as what's it called? Where basically you wear each other down, and eventually attrition. Interesting, I was talking to Mrs. John because we passed near Cambrai today, and Cambrai in 1917 was the place where it began to change, because it's where tanks were first used, and of course tanks could run across the trenches, and that stopped the war being quite so static. It had got horribly bogged down, and become about kind of traditional kind of trench warfare. So it's you know, it was a great relief to all concerned when the tanks began to get things moving again, because the first few months of World War I were remarkably sort of fluid. You know, as the Germans kind of moved through Belgium, Liège, Mons, Namur, these early battles of the First World War, you know, there were big kind of field battles with lots of movements and tens of kilometres sort of gained, you know, each week. But then by early 1915, all that had stopped, and we went into the war of the mud trenches, and I stayed there for the next kind of 2 years. So that sounds right, a bloodbath. And of course, as well, a deeply insanitary place for people to spend time, because, you know, it was muds and rats and infestations and everything nasty you could possibly imagine people were exposed to. So I don't know where this is going to lead to. I thought there was going to be a bridge here, but it doesn't look like there is. So it may be we have to kind of turn back or give up, or give it another 5 minutes and then just declare a halt on the proceedings. But we haven't quite gone. But oh, there we are. At least we can bring you a shot of the cathedral. I thought we were going to get to a bridge over there. I thought this bridge here would take us, but it's closed. As you can see here, what do you do with a closed bath? I don't know, is the answer. Is there another? There's a bridge down there. So let's head down there, and we'll head over that bridge and back up, and then we'll see if we can wrap up. So yeah, so it's particularly for any of you that have relations, you know, it is incredibly sort of touching to come over here and just see the sheer enormity of the sacrifice that, of course, is laid out in these beautifully preserved graveyards, these kind of cities of the dead, that are utterly immaculate. You know, when they say in the poem, you know, they shall not age as we age. It's kind of literally, it's within the Portland white stone. You know, and the fact that it's weeded, there's no aging, there's no moss, there's no lichen, there's nothing on the gravestones. They're immaculate, yeah. They look like they could have been put in this year, you know. And so there's that sense, you know, of these silent cities of the young men. But at the same time, you can't help be blown away by the sheer respect with which they're treated. We could all really question what it is that people died for in the First War. And it's far from cut and dried. It's very interesting to say people died for freedom, but it's very hard to really make that argument for the First World War. It's a war of empires. But nonetheless, the fact that they did die or sacrificed, however you want to put it, their memory has been treated as a sacred pact between the French and the British and the Allied forces and the German forces as well. So it's very nice now. I can't remember the name of the place. We didn't go today, but there is now a circular memorial that has got the names of over 1 million soldiers that all died on that sector of the Western Front. But it's the first monument in history that is French, Canadian, US, Indian, but also German and Turkish. So consequently, it is everybody that fought and died in that theatre of war. So Chris was saying the first tank to use in the war, Little Willie. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the Mark 1s, and they were called tank. I was just telling Mrs. John this day, a little bit of trivia for you. They were so worried that the news intelligence would break into the German side about the tanks that they told them they were developing a water tank that could, if you like, get across the mud of Flanders and the Somme battlefields to carry fresh water to the troops. And so that was what people thought the tanks were going to be, as in water tanks. And of course, the first day they rumbled into action with big guns either side must have been a desperate shock to the Germans, but it did begin the breakthrough. It allows suddenly, safe traversing across no man's land, because at that time they just didn't have anti-tank weaponry that could kind of fight back and halt them. So, as long as you could actually get these things, and the first, if you look at like parallelograms, they're like wedged front and back to allow them to dip in and out of these terrible circumstances. Therese, one of the most satisfying experiences I had as a genealogy consultant was showing an old man a photograph of the grave in France of his great uncle, American casualty of World War I. And there you go, Therese. It's making those connections to people, isn't it? That it suddenly becomes real that this is where their relative was. But it's equally nice to think that for those that have the personnel, that this is where they spend R&R, where they come relax, when they weren't having horrible days, when they were having days that hopefully may go in some tiny way towards making it bearable. So I think it's lovely to be able to kind of bring you to see that as well, rather than just the sad stuff. Not that today's been a sad stuff tour, but if we ever end up doing tours of the battlefields, which I'd like to do at some point. So we may run out soon, but I think we'll just try and get you up and get as close to the cathedral as possible. So we can sign off there. You okay? Yeah. And or do you not want to do this there? Do you want to walk on here instead? Okay. Yeah, we'll go so. But nice to see this area, of course, being used by families, recreation. It is dimanche, of course, over here. And France is very traditional in that respect, insofar as it's a family time together is held as sacred and respected. Most places aren't open on a Sunday, so it does allow for a much sort of slower vibe than perhaps we're used to in Western Europe or in America, in Canada. And that's nice. If that's what people kind of want, there are a few places open, and hopefully places open tonight for us to get a bite to eat. Otherwise, we'll be sulking. But I think there'll be something open. Hopefully somewhere open for us tonight, so we can get a bite to eat. Yeah. So, yes. So you see a lot of waterways here. We're about to sort of cross, another bridge. So this River Somme here at Amiens, really does kind of come in sections, instalments of the water. They are all around us. I don't know exactly where we are, but I'm worrying about that not a lot. I think we'll just head down here. We'll head down that one, actually. And then round. It's very clean, very safe if you're thinking about coming to Amiens. I would say I haven't sort of really felt any kind of menace here at all. Yes, in Paris, of course, it's always a bit more in your face, as you might say. Not least the cars that think you're going to run you over. So it's a good deal slower pace of life here. But Paris, very reachable, very day trippable. Or a combiner trip if you're interested in doing the First World War battlefields. Oh, this looks a nice street to walk down. So we'll take this. I don't know this area, but that makes it perfect for discovering together, doesn't it? We can see the cathedral spire in front of us. So we're heading in the right direction. Hopefully we can get there before. But if this tour just suddenly stops like that, black, it's because I've run out of battery on my phone. So forgive me that. I'm sure you will. So kind of French now neighbourhood. And it's just gently pretty, is Amiens. Very nice, and so very quiet and safe. So definitely a place, I think, on your itinerary. Not necessarily to stay for a long time, but if you're passing through. And again, if you are interested in the First World War history, it's also close to the Belgian border and the Ypres. So today we were at Thiepval, which is the huge monument to, I think, 78,000 missing of the Somme, so people whose bodies never found or never identified, to have their own graves are done there. But the equivalent one in Belgium for Ypres, the French battles of Passchendaele, is the Menin Gate. And they have a ceremony there. They have had every single night since the armistice, which just blows me away, where they play the last post. And so that's, again, probably from here, maybe an hour and a quarter drive. So it's all very, very close. That is the northern sector of the line in 1916. So if that's your thing, or you think you'd like to come and see and perhaps better understand what people went through, or trace your relatives, Amiens is a great base for that. It's a really, really cool place to be located while you're checking out that family history and links. Nice contemporary wall art down here. It is young. I think there's quite a lot of students here. So on an evening, it's very vibrant. They all smoke. Everyone smokes here. But there's lots of children too. It's just a nice sort of friendly place to be. And but yeah, English is not really. Yeah, you have to make an effort here. You can't take for granted that people are going to. You're at Paris, obviously everybody is used to people that don't speak French, particularly, dare I say it, Americans. But that's not the case here. There's an expectation that you would speak French to get by, really. Oh yeah, here's where the bars and cafes are. Hello, Alex. Alex is back on. Good to see you. So we may well be within 2 or 3 minutes of my phone shutting down. I couldn't tell you because I'm up about 10% warning. But if we can get to the cathedral before we finish, I think that would make a nice place for us to finish. But as I say, if it suddenly cuts out, do not adjust your set. It's me that's run out of batteries, and there's nothing to do about that. I can't change that. There's some flowers here, absolutely. But isn't it pretty? Have you been beguiled by it? Particularly that's the last few streets and the waterway. I think it's that's where we're going to somewhere to eat this evening. But yeah, hopefully it gives you a different take on the River Somme that isn't just associated with dying, but is also associated with living, and living rather well, I would say, and romance. Absolutely, as Mrs. John has said, yes, romance. There's always room for romance in life. I'm not quite sure what that fella's doing, but he seems to be steadfast, and that's what he's got planned for the evening. So we'll not get in his way. He's a model, of course. Well, that's what we're going to try and do, is to head down there, and I'm hoping through that little maze of streets down there, we will find ourselves dans la vicinité. But as I say, I'll try and give you as much cathedral as possible because I don't know how much juice we've got left. But whatever I've got, I give to you willingly, and trust that you will reward my spirit of generosity with your own. And of course, any contributions and tips are very, very much welcomed, appreciated, and the best way of continuing this lovely little community that we've got is when you can pay, to pay what you can, and that enables us, of course, to continue and to set aside time when we are overseas to bring you a little slice of life from wherever we are. And there's a few of us that do that now. I know Natalie loves to get out and about. Ian has been on his overseas travels of late, hasn't he? So it just allows us to show you more of the world. And of course, that is the best way for us all to appreciate and learn to live with one another. For all our foibles, our disagreements, is through. So glad to see you love weather in Picardy. Absolutely, Alex. It's been great today. Rotten in Paris yesterday with the hailstones, but beautiful day. Lovely colours down here. This is so much better head down here tonight, actually, Tracy. Look at the name of the street. So again, I've just had a very low battery warning on my phone. So again, we are probably in imminent danger of a complete shutout. But as I say, that's on me. It's not on you. I don't always feel bad if that happens. It doesn't change anything. It's not me, it's not you. It's the battery. So, but we're getting very near to the cathedral, so we will continue to do what we can. And if we get there, we get there. If we don't, well, do have a look on Facebook. And there's a couple of videos that I made even before not last night, Friday night. And you'll hopefully get more than a flavour, more than a soupçon. You get a grande portion, if that makes sense, if that's French. Big fat slice of Amiens Cathedral, which of course is in front of us here. So, au revoir, Nathalie. We will be heading back tomorrow. So, I do hope you've enjoyed this little slice of northern France. And it more than makes up for missing Flo. Keeps freezing. It may well be the battery now, Maureen.